we are going not to look at all of these lines, but just one line. And it might not be as difficult as you think. We can see that more clearly if for just a moment we turn the paper. Just as you don't need to be conscious of the names of each one of the notes as you're making music, you also don't need to be able to read music in order to play music. But it sure is helpful, and it might not be as difficult as you think. Let me show you what I mean. So you may be familiar with this view of musical notation. Turns out this thing here is called the treble clef, this is called the bass clef. These 5 lines are called a staff. That's all well and good, but we're not going to talk about this in this video. We want to talk about the fundamental principles upon which the system of notation rests, right? And to do that, we are going not to look at all of these lines, but just one line. Let's say that this line here refers to a C. We know where C is, right? Right here. So to notate that note, I just draw a circle there on the line referring to this C. Now, what if I wanted to notate this note here? This note is somewhat higher than C, right? Because we know the high notes go over here. So we would refer to that like this, a little bit higher in the notation. And let's say we wanted to write our C again. And now we want to notate this key here, which is a little bit lower than C. Then we would just write that below this line. Now we'll notate C again. And what we have is we could even go a little bit further. Let's start again. Here's our C. We'll notate this note. And now we could go even a little further. We'll use this line, it's called the ledger line, just to keep our place so that we know that we are indeed one line higher than where we were before. And then we'll go back down. And let's say now we wanted to notate these 2 notes at the same time. Well, one of them is above C and one of them is below C. So we'll write that this way. And then we'll end up with C again. So the first fundamental principle that I want to mention in regards to this is that whenever I write a note here that's higher than another note, that means I'm moving to the right at the piano. And whenever I write a note that's lower than another note, then I'm moving to the left at the piano. So there's a certain translation that's going on in your head when you're playing it. We can see that more clearly if for just a moment we turn the paper. Then we can see, we're going to start this note here, C, and then the next note is slightly to the right of that, so I play slightly to the right of that. The next note again goes to the left, so I play to the left. We go to the left again, and I play to the left again. And then I go to the right. This one stays the same. I go to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left. I go on either side of that note, and I go back to where I started. Right? So this would be actually an easier way of reading music from top to bottom, and that way we wouldn't have to do a translation in your head. But it turns out we read the music this way. So anytime the musical notation goes up at the piano, we go right. And the notation goes down, then at the piano we play to the left. That's the one fundamental principle. The other one is that all the white keys on the piano are referred to alternatingly by lines and spaces. So this was, we said C, and then this is a space, and then this is a line, and this is space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, etc. There are no exceptions. The same going down. Line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. There's no place where you would ever have line, space, 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 line, line, or anything like that. They're always alternating lines and spaces.